Okay, guys, this is a part two of my 3D movie collection. So I missed some movies when I did part one and rediscovered some in my collection when I was just putting stuff back on the shelf and taking stuff out. So the first movie I want to discuss here is a silent film, The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Kind of a big, massive, important release for Universal Pictures. It came out in 1923, and they took a big risk on this movie, putting a lot of money behind it and putting a lot of faith behind a very talented character actor, Lon Chaney. And it's one of the greatest. It ended up being like a great film for them and really put them on the map because they were really hoping to make a triple A picture, which they ended up getting, and this has gone down as a true classic and a very, very important film in for that studio's history, definitely, and one of the best silent films ever made. Now, when I purchased this, it had a big sticker on here saying 3D glasses included. So I thought, oh, wow, The Hunchback of Notre Dame in 3D. I got to see that. And, like, again, I can't emphasize how great the character of The Hunchback of Notre Dame, like how great of a creation that was by Lon Chaney. And when I got this, you open it up, you get two 3D glasses, and the movie isn't in 3D at all. I thought the movie was 3D. I was like, oh, okay. And the only thing 3D about this is the special features. You access it and you get a stills gallery, and some of those images are in 3D. Like they were better off putting those images in this booklet here, and so you can view it on 3D here, because watching it as a slideshow on the 3D as a special feature, and the images don't even take up the full screen. They're like really small. It was so ridiculous. And some of them in that gallery, that slideshow, aren't even in 3D, some of the images. So I guess you got to pause it when there's a 3D image put on your glasses. It was so ridiculous. Like a terrible, terrible marketing campaign. You can argue at least they included that in here, but it's just such a poor implementation of it. I think they were better off just putting the 3D images in the booklet because it was so pathetic in terms of 3D. But otherwise, an incredible movie. The next one is an obscure one. Here's the 13 Ghosts. And now I read all about this, just like Dial M for Murder and House of Wax. Like, I always read about those movies when I was a film student, and I always dreamt about, oh, I'd love to see it in its actual, what it was like in the theaters, the way the director intended it to be. And those movies were released in very limited cinemas, very limited runs. Very few people in the world actually saw those movies in 3D. Now, of course, with Blu-ray and 3D televisions, you're able to at least watch it at home, a pretty good rendition of it. It might not be exactly the cinematic accuracy, but it's pretty damn good. And so that's why I hail House of Wax and Dial M for Murder as the two best ones. Because that and as well, they're very, very good movies. Now, The 13 Ghosts, this is a bit of a gimmick, this film. So I read a lot about this before purchasing it. And what happened was when audiences saw this at the cinemas, they were given this ghost viewer. And when the ghost came up on screen, like the movie would say, oh, there's a ghost there. To see the ghost, you would have to view it through this red gel. And if you're too scared, you can watch the movie through the green gel and you won't see the ghost. They weren't able to replicate that effect for home viewing, for Blu-ray and DVD. And I thought you could. I swear I read it in a forum that, yes, there is a version that exists out there with the 3D viewer, and you can watch it exactly like how people watched it at the movies back then, but it definitely isn't in this edition. And as far as I know, this is the best edition that's out there because it's packed full of special features. It actually cost me a little bit. This is from the UK and it's region free. And yeah, it's packed full of essays here and interesting information about the movie, which of course I haven't even read. But yeah, so as far as I know, there isn't a home release where you get this ghost viewer and you can watch it how it was originally intended. But when I finally did watch the movie, it was terrible. Like, I think this movie is completely overrated. What it is, it's a 40-minute episode of The Twilight Zone, really. And some of the ghost designs, well, they're not bad, but I thought it was really stretched out to 90 minutes. I think it would have been a cool experience at the movies during that time, but I don't think it's aged well at all. Like there's this moment where there's a ghost who's a lion handler and he's missing his head and he's trying to tame a lion back. Like that's one of the ghosts, and it goes on forever. Like I was dozing off, really disappointed with this movie, and I don't recommend getting it. And unless somebody could tell me, no, there is a definite edition with the 3D viewer, and you can watch it at home exactly how it was intended. But otherwise, this is a terrible edition. One of the Pixar movies I missed when I was showing off the last Pixar movies, Finding Nemo, which is a really, really great Pixar film. You got the Blu-ray 3D, DVD, and digital cut. This is the Ultimate Collection. Great lenticular there. Again, these animated movies, they transition very well to 3D. I'm just assuming the animation, especially 3D computer-generated animation like Toy Story and so forth, I think it transitions really well to 3D. I think they have a lot of tools in their belt that can really amplify that sort of technology. And certainly watching this at home in 3D is a great experience. So I highly recommend if you can get all the Pixar, the really good Pixar titles in 3D, the ones that are available in these Ultimate or whatever Ultimate Collector's Edition that include all of them. Even if you don't have a Blu-ray 3D TV or player, just get this one. Look how good these editions are. They're fantastic. And another Disney one that went under the radar or didn't really succeed as how they wanted it was John Carter. And originally this was called John Carter of Mars. And the original books for these blew up. Like they were classics, and they influenced Star Wars and a whole bunch of other science fiction stories. And they adapted this to the movies, and they made it in 3D. I saw it at the movies in 3D. I thought this was a terrific movie, really, really good film. And it does end from memory a bit open-ended, because I think they were supposed to make obviously a John Carter 2, John Carter 3, and it wasn't a big success, so they've pulled the plug on it. But still, as it stands, it's still a very, very good movie. And this is a fantastic addition. I think it's an excellent action film. And I got Warcraft 3D. This is still sealed, so I haven't even watched it in 3D at home, but I did watch it at the movies in 3D. So this is based on the very popular video game World of Warcraft, and they got an incredible director, very, very talented director to direct this film. I still think the best video game movie ever is the first Mortal Kombat. I don't know why people don't like that film. I think it's a classic. The original Mortal Kombat, I think that's the best video game adaptation. So this movie here, I think, isn't a perfect film, but I really enjoyed it, especially the last battle scene. Like, he's really the hero of the movie, and he dies a horrible death. That's really interesting there. And this character was the most interesting. I think from memory, he's a good guy, but he's actually a villain. He's got villain tendencies or whatever, and they needed way more time dedicated to him because he was the most interesting character in the film. Definitely the most intriguing, and yeah, it's not a perfect movie, but I really enjoyed it. So this is another movie that was set to build a franchise, Warcraft 2, 3, and 4, and it was very successful overseas, particularly in China, and I don't think it was very popular with World of Warcraft fans, because I guess with all adaptations, they're not going to get the full lore into the movie. They're never going to satisfy everyone, but it isn't bad. It isn't a great film. It isn't a perfect film or anything, but it's not a bad action film here. I actually really enjoyed it at the movies. And speaking of action films, oh my gosh, Tom Cruise was absolutely on a tear. I'm a big fan of Tom Cruise with action films, and he was on a tear from Last Samurai all the way till one of the Mission Impossible movies. I think he's really missed the mark with The Mummy, Jack Reacher 2. I really didn't like Jack Reacher 2. And the last Mission Impossible movie just had way too many action set pieces. But Last Samurai, Oblivion, although the last 10 minutes of Oblivion is pretty much Independence Day. I thought Oblivion was amazing. Edge of Tomorrow, and what are the other ones he did? Jack Reacher. I love the first Jack Reacher, and Mission Impossible 5. Absolutely outstanding movies. Tom Cruise is one of the greatest action stars of all time, in my opinion. And this, out of that period of action movies that Tom Cruise did, Edge of Tomorrow is by far and away my favorite. Wonderful love story there. Awesome time travel element to this film. And, Live, Die, and Repeat, that literally references the movie, what happens. But the action scenes in this is just fantastic. And I saw this at the movies in 3D, sublime. And owning a copy of this, 3D copy of this at home, man, I've seen this movie like 3 or 4 times at home, and it's such a great experience. So highly recommend this edition if you can get it. It's fantastic. One of the best action movies I have ever seen. And the other ones I want to talk about are Robert Rodriguez films, Spy Kids 3D and Shark Boy and Lava Girl 3D, and these are DVD editions. So Robert Rodriguez, really Avatar by James Cameron was the movie responsible for the next wave of 3D movies, and Avatar actually completely changed cinema. All the movie theater chains had upgraded their projectors to enable the technology of 3D. It changed how TVs were made, because TVs started including 3D and high definition and higher frame rates, and so forth that James Cameron was building with Avatar. And Robert Rodriguez is good friends with James Cameron, and this actually, Spy Kids 3D preceded, and I think Shark Boy and Lava Girl as well, preceded Avatar. So this is just before the big last wave of 3D. And I saw Spy Kids 3D at the movies in 3D, and you were given glasses, and I still have those glasses, and I can't find them for this video. And I did have a good look, but I couldn't find them. This edition doesn't have the glasses, which is annoying, but Shark Boy and Lava Girl 3D does, and they did a fantastic job here. They put a family pack of 3D glasses, and you get male and female sort of like Lava Girl edition and Shark Boy edition sort of glasses. Really well done here. These DVDs are just absolutely packed with special features. Robert Rodriguez, back in the day especially, always loaded his home release DVDs and Blu-rays with special features. So if you want to learn about movie production and video production and so forth, there's no better film school than Robert Rodriguez, and his audio commentaries are sublime. In fact, one of the best audio commentaries in terms of how to make movies and how to get into the movie industry and so forth that I've ever heard is Spy Kids 2. So when I saw this at the movies, I was like by myself, and there are all these families around me. But when they go in the story, when the kids go into the video game world and they have to defeat the villain in this video game world, they have to put on these glasses or put on this helmet, and they literally tell the audience to put on the 3D glasses. So it's got that interactivity. And the same thing with Shark Boy and Lava Girl. When they go to the dream world, the dream world from memory, they have to put on glasses to see everything, and they literally tell the audience to put on the glasses. So it's got this interactivity with the audience, and seeing it in the theaters, I didn't see Shark Boy and Lava Girl in the theaters, I just saw Spy Kids 3D, but the kids loved it. Just had great interactivity. It was really fun at the movies, and Robert Rodriguez handled, I think, 3D really well. I think this is a fantastic addition. I'm not that big on these movies to get the Blu-ray editions, because at home, if you watch it on 3D, it's not that great, because it uses the old one eye red, one eye blue, or green or teal, whatever color you want to call that, method. So it really dilutes the color of the movie. Whereas in the Blu-ray editions, it doesn't drop the color or the contrast. So it's much better if you could get the Blu-ray editions of these rather than the DVD editions. But I bought these editions purely for these special features, because I'm such a big fan of Robert Rodriguez, and I want to learn a lot about I'm a video producer myself, making short films, corporate videos or whatever, and every little bit of information helps, and there's no better teacher than Robert Rodriguez, in my opinion. Fantastic additions. And the next one I want to talk about is Battle Angel Alita. Now this is a fantastic movie by Robert Rodriguez. So James Cameron bought this franchise back in the 90s, and the intellectual property. I saw the original anime in the 90s when I was very young, and it was so haunting. Absolutely haunting. Really, really good. and a lot of mysticism with it. It only goes on for like 50 minutes, and it's based off a huge manga series, like a lot of manga, the comic book series. It's based off a lot of books, and the anime that I saw condensed it down to like into 50 minutes. So there was a lot of mysticism in it, a lot of world building that isn't explained. But I think that really added to the impact, especially at the ending of that film. In Battle Angel Alita, they tried to include everything in one. So it's the criticism with this, I think, is fair. They say there's too many endings with this movie, like that Lord of the Rings film, the third one. But I really like Battle Angel Alita. I think it's fantastic. I didn't see it in 3D at the movies. I wasn't feeling well at all when this movie was released, and I just bought a ticket and I watched the movie. And when this came out in 3D, came out in home theaters, and it emphasized, oh, this is the 3D edition. I thought, oh, they retrofitted it to be 3D, and I found out, no, they shot this in 3D, and I'm kicking myself now that I didn't watch it at the movies in 3D. I didn't even think about it. And it's funny that James Cameron actually produced this movie and gave it over to Robert Rodriguez, so the director of Spy Kids 3D and everything like that, and Sin City and so forth. Ended up taking the reins and doing Battle Angel Alita, and I think he did a fantastic job. This movie's sublime, and this edition especially is just packed full of special features. He did a fantastic job with this, and personally one of my favorite special features on this, he shows you how to make the chocolate that she eats in the movie, because in the movie Alita buys a bar of chocolate and eats it, so he shows you how to make that chocolate that's characterized in the film. That's really cool. And it's interesting that James Cameron started the new wave of 3D movies with Avatar, and it's eerie that this should be the end. This is really the last movie of the 3D era, the last great movie, I think, which is Battle Angel Alita. I don't think they make 3D movies anymore, so it's interesting that he started it, and the last hurrah of 3D, unless, of course, Avatar 2 and 3 does something and brings 3D movies back, which I really hope, but it just seems unlikely. But a fantastic addition, awesome movie. I love Battle Angel Alita. I think this is a fantastic, underrated movie, and I'm so glad I saw it at the cinemas, and this is the best edition I think you can get for your home theater. But I do have the Ultimate Edition, and this is still sealed because I'm seeing it more as an investment, and largely because with this edition you get all these you get the art book, some posters and pictures, and what else do you get? You get the Blu-ray, obviously the DVD, and some other, and I think you get posters, small posters. But this certificate here is actually signed by James Cameron, Robert Rodriguez, and the producer John Landau. So just that piece of paper alone, I think, is worth a fair bit. So I'm just going to hang on to this sealed. I did see an unboxing of this box set. I pre-ordered this, so I got it. Well, it was very expensive, but I pre-ordered it, so I paid the lowest price, I guess, possible. And I saw an unboxing of this online, and it was so disappointing. Like the quality of this box is very poor. Like the moment you open it, you'll bend it right away. It's very, very thin. The box and the features are okay, but I don't even think there's a certificate of authenticity with that as well. So the guy wasn't happy with it, and from watching him unbox it, I could tell the quality just wasn't there. But I'm seeing this as an investment. I don't think you can get this anymore for under $800, because I looked on eBay and somebody was selling this for $800, and I'm just going to hang on to it sealed for a long time. I'm more than happy with this being the Ultimate Edition. But yeah, Battle Angel Alita, just fantastic, and I'm so happy I got the 3D edition at home. Really beautiful movie. But I just want to quickly say, guys, my favorite 3D movie experience of all time was Terminator 2, The Ride at Universal Studios. I'm not sure if it's still there, but oh my gosh, as I love Terminator 2, and I did see Terminator 2 when they re-released it for 3D. I'll just quickly grab something before I begin the story. Just a quick pause here. So my favorite 3D movie experience is Terminator 3 or Terminator 2, The Ride at Universal Studios. Now, they did re-release Terminator 2 recently in 3D at the movies, and I did see it in 3D. It was pretty good. And I got this Ultimate Edition here. Terminator 2, and this is the arm that's characterized in the movie. How cool is that? And this is a limited edition there. It's signed and numbered out of 8,000. So this is the crown jewel of my DVD collection. So I did see, I did go to the ride at Universal Studios, and I have to say that was the greatest 3D movie experience I've ever experienced. So you go in there, it's like a play. You go, it's like a stage play. You go there, and it's as if you're at Cyberdyne Systems. They're giving you a walk around, a tour of what they're building there, and then it gets hijacked by terrorists, which is Sarah Connor and the Terminator and John Connor. And you're taken in another room. You're given these glasses, and it's like a stage show. They perform. You know, they're trying to go on with the show of Cyberdyne Systems, what they're trying to build, and John Connor and the Terminator attacks and break into Cyberdyne. They go back in time. You wear these glasses, and the 3D in that movie was as if it was coming at the screen and touching your face. It was incredible. And everyone got up at the end of that movie when the big explosion happened. I was so emotional. Everyone stood up and was just applauding, like this huge round of applause. It was such an experience, especially if you're a fan of the Terminator franchise. Oh my gosh, it's so good. So that is the best experience. And sadly, I don't think you'll ever be able to somehow box that up and put it for a home theater release. So if you ever get a chance to go to Universal Studios, if it's still there, go check out Terminator 2, the ride, because that and the story itself perfectly ends the Terminator franchise. In my opinion, that's the real trilogy: Terminator 1, Terminator 2, and Terminator the Ride at Universal Studios. It's such a pity what they've done with the Terminator movies. I think they've really gone downhill. I haven't watched it past Rise of the Machines, I think, or Genesis, Terminator Genesis. I haven't watched Terminator since then, but to me it'll always be Terminator 1, Terminator 2, and Terminator 3, The Ride at Universal Studios. That is the best 3D experience I've ever had.